Our third type of conjunction is our subordinating conjunction. Now, I hope subordinating or subordinate sounds familiar. What did we talk about when we talked about subordinate? We talked about a baby and how they rely on someone else to take care of them. What is that called when you have to rely on somebody else if you cannot do it on your own? Dependent. So our subordinating conjunction, they're going to connect two things by making one idea dependent on the other. So our dependent clause has to go with our independent clause, and then they have to be connected in the middle. Okay? So it connects two ideas by making one idea dependent on the other. Now, here is a list of words. Once again, I'm being nice and giving you the words to copy into your notes, or not copy, to tape into there. So please be courteous, try to hurry, get this done quickly. Do not be annoying, get it done like the mature students I know you are. And then we will continue with what I do now. So go ahead and pause the video, do this quickly, and then get back to the video. Okay? So here is my little symbol for your list. Do not write list again. This is just me and my shortcut so I don't write out the whole list. After you have the list taped, glued, stapled, stuck down, go ahead and put these sentences right after it. These are our sample sentences. So I did the planning after he made reservations. I did the planning after he made the reservations. Looking at that list that you now have, what is our subordinating conjunction? Our conjunction is after, and then he made reservations as our subordinate clause. When I called this morning, I was unable to reach my mom. When I called this morning, I was unable to reach my mom. What is our subordinating conjunction? This time it is when. Then what is my subordinate clause? What is my dependent clause? It relies on something else. I called this morning. Okay, now a tidbit of helpful information. When the dependent or subordinate idea comes first, it has to be separated from the main idea with a comma. I hope you can see it. It's right there. It has to be separated with that comma, so it makes sense. When the dependent idea comes first, it must be separated from the main idea with a comma. So, as you'll notice, this sentence in itself is one of these with a subordinating conjunction. So in this case, when is our subordinating conjunction, and the dependent idea comes first, is our subordinate or dependent clause, and then notice it is separated with a comma. So our helpful tidbit kind of acted as another example for us. Let's do a couple more. School started even though the building wasn't finished. School started even though the building wasn't finished. So our subordinating conjunction is even though. And then our subordinate clause, our dependent clause that needs something else to make sense, is the building wasn't finished. You have to come in after school since you didn't get your homework done. You have to come in after school since you didn't get your homework finished or done. Our subordinating conjunction is since, and then our dependent subordinate clause is you didn't get your homework done. Our last example, George stayed out until midnight. George stayed out until midnight. Until is our conjunction, and then midnight is our subordinate clause. Notice how some of our subordinate clauses make sense on their own. They kind of could stand on their own, but they're not the best sentences. And then others of them, like midnight, absolutely cannot stand on its own. So even though it kind of makes sense, you didn't get your homework done, that is a sentence. It is still the subordinate clause in this sentence just because it needs the rest of the to make sense. And it follows that subordinating conjunction. Okay? So just realize that and be able to recognize that. All right, that is the end of our our conjunctions. So we did our coordinating, correlative, and subordinating. So the next video and the last video you need to see is the interjections. All right, good job. Keep going.